Welcome to HighRoad U. At the U, HighRoad Solution believes that modern learning is all about being multi-channel, multi-format, and user-centric. We are creating educational content based on the content you want. Be sure to check out future program schedule by clicking the HighRoad U resources link in the special links box in the top right-hand corner of your screen. We are pleased to present our latest HighRoad U webinar entitled, Where Did Our Love Go? Winning Back Members, Buyers, and Attendees, with John Brandt, Sales Director of HighRoad Solution. My name is Jeff Baker, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Today's presentation will last approximately 30 minutes and include a specific question and answer period at the end of the session. You may ask a question via the web conference system by typing it into the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen and then clicking the call-out button or hitting enter on your keypad. These instructions will be repeated later in the program. If you have any technical questions during the event, please email support@highroadsolution.com. Today's webinar is being recorded, and all participant lines will be muted during the live program. Attendees of this live webinar presentation have also earned an ASAE credit. John Brandt started his career as a United States Marine. After leaving active duty, he went on to the University of Minnesota. Post-graduation, he began his corporate career with Thomson Reuters as part of their Legal Information Division, commonly known as Westlaw. While with Thomson Reuters, John worked on a team focused on growing some of the largest law firms in the world, and he received his MBA in marketing. After over 8 years, John moved on to join Blue Hornet, a division of Digital River. John was with Blue Hornet for 3 years and left as the Director of Strategy and Operations for Blue Hornet Agency Channel. In his current role as Sales Director at HighRoad Solution, John brings his can-do spirit and his expertise in email and social strategy. With that, I would now like to turn the webinar over to John.
All right, thank you, Jeff. As Jeff mentioned, my name is John Brandt, so thank you everyone for joining us today for this topic on winning back subscribers, something that I am sure is of interest to most email marketers out there. So let's go over today's agenda here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why subscribers potentially could become inactive. Also, what is an inactive subscriber and why should you care about that? Strategies for winning back those inactive subscribers. And then what to do once you've won them back. So now they're re-engaged. So now what? And then we'll actually jump into the HighRoad email platform and kind of show you how to do a couple of things we're going to discuss here from a strategic level, and kind of talk about how tactically you can do some of those tasks. And then as Jeff mentioned, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So let's go ahead and jump right in here. So why? Essentially, before we jump in, let's mention here, though, that we don't want to put the cart before the horse. We want to have a plan. So before you try to jump in and start re-engaging your inactive subscribers, let's make absolutely sure that you have a plan of what to do with them at the end. So if you've re-engaged a subscriber, you've got them to open your email again, we don't want to lose them because you might have even more difficulty re-engaging them the second time. So come up with a plan. So I want to make sure I mention that first. But let's talk a little bit about essentially why do subscribers tune out? So it's impossible for me to just presume that I know why all of your subscribers have tuned out, but a couple common reasons that I challenge you to go back and look at your programs. One is, are you meeting expectations? So when that subscriber signs up or that member becomes a member and gives you their email address, and you are setting expectations of what they are going to receive from you as being a member and as an email subscriber, are you meeting that expectation? So take a step back and look at that. Are you providing them the content that you promised them? Also, poll your subscribers. You might presume that you are, providing that content, but do your subscribers perceive that you are receiving that content as expected? So I challenge you to also poll your membership as well. Also, part of the analysis here is you should try to identify some commonalities in your inactive subscribers. So if you can find some common threads through your inactive subscribers, say for instance, do you have a lot of inactive executive level subscribers or members? Maybe we can make the assumption then that the content that you're providing your executive level subscribers is not meeting their expectation. They're not getting value out of the content that you're providing to the executive level members. So something to analyze, something to actually try to get at. So pulling the data, and we'll talk here about in a minute about how to pull some of that data for your inactive subscribers, and then actually try to find and dig in and find those common threads that might run through those inactive subscribers. Also, frequency of analysis is really important. As I'm sure all of you know, email marketing with mobile and different social outlets and things, email marketing is changing frequently. A lot of the things that we thought were standard 1-2 years ago are now completely turned upside down. So I remember 2-3 years ago, people were talking about optimal send time. So what was an optimal send time for your newsletter or event marketing? Well, now it shows that people are opening email all throughout the day. As a matter of fact, earlier this week at a conference, I heard that millennials, or Gen Y, they look at their mobile devices every 10 minutes on average. So if you're like them, I think I probably do the same. If I'm not on a meeting, I'm probably looking at my email on my mobile probably about every 10 or 15 minutes. So again, things may have changed. And so analysis frequency, I'd say do that every 6 months to 12 months. So kind of go back and see what your data shows. Also, levels of email addresses. So the good news is that within the membership-driven world that we live in, we actually see that a lot of the associations are getting work email addresses. So if you are, say, a CPA society, you're likely getting that CPA's work email address. So that's a good thing, because if, again, you're like me, I'm staring at my inbox multiple hours a day, and that's good. If you see that your subscriber database has a lot of Yahoos, Gmails, and AOLs in it, then that actually might be something that we want to treat a little bit differently, because personally speaking, I have different levels of email addresses. I have my work email. Again, that's the one I look at multiple hours a day. Then I have a Gmail address. It's kind of my personal inbox, but I don't look at it every day, maybe every third day or every week, really. And then my Yahoo email address, which kind of is the dumping ground. I have to admit that if I want to download a white paper, but I don't want to get peppered by the emails, I will give them my Yahoo email address. And I will download the white paper, read it, and really not go in and ever open their email in my Yahoo inbox. So something to think about as well when you look at your data for your subscribers. Okay, so what is an inactive subscriber? Obviously, it's somebody who has not opened or clicked your email in a certain amount of time. So is there seasonality in your vertical? That's something that you need to ask. So for instance, if I am emailing retailers, so I'm a retailer association, I could probably suspect that I'm not going to get great open or click-through rates during the busy Christmas season. That might just really be a downtime for my readership. So analyze that. Look at that. Is there seasonality? And then you really just got to dive in and take a look at the data. So I'm going to show you guys how to pull some of this inactivity data, export it to some spreadsheets, and really try to define where that line is for you of where the inactive subscriber might, where you might want to start targeting your inactive subscribers. So spend some time with the data, try to read the tea leaves, so to speak, with the data. Hopefully you have somebody on your team that really loves staring at data. It's great having one of those people on your team because maybe you're not that person. But there's likely somebody that really loves rolling up their sleeves and looking at Excel spreadsheets and just diving into data. So one note of caution, though, as you re-engage with subscribers who might be inactive or might not have opened your email in a while, you really have to be careful because nowadays domains like AOL and Gmail and Yahoo will red flag inboxes that have not been accessed from the subscriber in a certain amount of time. So for instance, my Yahoo email address, if I haven't logged in to look at my inbox in 12 months, then Yahoo knows that, and Yahoo uses that as a red flag. So if you're emailing me at my Yahoo address and I haven't opened and clicked any of your email because I haven't even logged into that account in 12 months, then that is a red flag. And so if you have too many of those types of scenarios where Yahoo is seeing that you're pinging or hitting inboxes that are completely jettisoned, then they're going to actually potentially end up sending your email to the spam folder. So good rule of thumb is really do not send email to subscribers who have not opened or clicked your email in 12 months. We just have to presume that that email address is no longer being accessed. There's really no way around that. So that is something you definitely have to look at doing. Now, that's not to say that you should just not engage with that subscriber at all. Maybe you should do an outcall project or send them a mailer or something to say, hey, we want to re-engage with you. We noticed that your email address isn't the correct email address. Can you confirm the email address? Something like that. Or if you have a way to flag an email address or a profile within your AMS so that if a customer calls or a member calls and the customer rep opens up that file or that profile, that they will see to ask them about that email address and find out if that is truly their preferred email address that they want to be using. And also, I would challenge you to look at your inactive subscribers and see if there's a red flag for not renewing. Is there a common thread there? People that have not opened and clicked your email, say, in 6 months prior to renewal are, say, less likely to renew. So again, something that you want to take into consideration. Maybe you already know that. Maybe you've done that due diligence, but continue to do that on a regular basis so that you can try to re-engage with those people and really hopefully get your renewal rates back up again. Okay, so winning them back. So we've kind of defined where or what an inactive subscriber is. So how do we win them back? So as a man, I presume that a shiny red sports car is going to do the trick, right? Or maybe the puppy dog eyes, which doesn't work for my wife, so I would say probably not. I would say the best way to re-engage with a inactive subscriber is to do email in the same way you should be doing pretty much all of your email, with a couple exceptions. We'll talk about those here in a second. But you want that, essentially that breadcrumb, that line of hooking the member by the subject line and getting them to look at the body, the content of the actual email, and then from there going to a clear call to action. So again, we're leading that subscriber down a path. So subject line, so we get them to look at the subject line, we hook them with the subject line, we have the content, the body of the email that goes to a clear call to action. Now, again, win-backs are no exception, so that should be your normal strategy for your email, win-backs especially so. So subject lines. So let's talk a little bit about that. Subject lines, there's a few things that you want to avoid for sure. You want to avoid using urgent or important in your subject line. Try not to sound desperate. That is really pretty obvious. Also, try to avoid being creepy sounding. Don't put the member's name in the subject line like, hey, John, open this email. That is creepy. It definitely comes off creepy. And don't allude to the fact that you know what that subscriber did. So, avoid the I know what you did last summer kind of subject line. That also comes off as pretty creepy. So get them to look at the subject line. I don't know if you guys get the email from, I get Delta's email. They use those symbols. They have like a little airplane in the subject line. Try to incorporate a symbol within the subject line for your win-back campaigns. Don't overuse it. Don't use it on everything because then it gets annoying. But for your win-back program, maybe use a symbol of some sort in your subject line. Now you've actually got them to look at your subject line. Now, once you've got them to look at your subject line, you have about 2 to 3 seconds to actually hook them into reading the actual email. So subject line, you've got them looking at it. Now what do you say in the subject line that actually compels them to open the email? There's a lot of studies out there that have some different strategies. I've seen a lot of success around using numbers in the subject line, so along with something of value. So for instance, your first email that you're going to try to send to an inactive subscriber might say something like 6 things that every CPA should know. Okay, so that makes me curious. If I'm a CPA and you're a CPA society and you're trying to re-engage me, I'm looking at your subject line because it has a symbol in it. I see 6 things that every CPA should know. Well, being a CPA, I'm like, I definitely need to know that. So I'm going to open that. That should really be your first email in your win-back campaign. The second might be maybe if there's a key person, like is there a rock star kind of person in your vertical? If you're looking at executives, business executives, is there an E.F. Hutton type within your vertical that you can point to? Like say, Jack Welch's 4 tips to getting promoted. Jack Welch in the executive world is kind of one of those guys that, hey, when he talks, people kind of want to sit up and listen. So maybe that would compel me to open that. So that might be my second email in the win-back campaign. And my third is typically once you've emailed the third win-back email to somebody, now you're at a point where we really want to try to pull out all the stops and try to get this person to open our email. So the third might be something of monetary value. It might be a complimentary pass to an upcoming event, something like that. So this is your last-ditch effort to try to re-engage with this subscriber. So that would be my suggestion in a win-back type program, and we'll talk a little bit here about how to build that win-back program in the HighRoad email platform using strategy blueprints. But I would also encourage you to use the A/B test functionality. Subject line testing is so simple in our platform. You literally, all you have to do is choose that you definitely want to do an A/B test, and just change the subject line and then hit go, and it will tell you which subject line is more compelling. So I encourage you to do some A/B testing, and if you don't know how to do that, then feel free to reach out to us and we can help you with that. Okay, so we want to have a plan for what's next. So essentially, now what? So we've re-engaged the subscriber. We've got them to click on one of our 3 emails in our campaign. Again, like I previously mentioned, we don't want to end up putting them back into the normal pool of subscribers. We don't want to, because we may lose them again. So we want to treat them maybe a little bit differently. So basically during your early analysis of, okay, why have we lost subscribers? Is it the executive level content? Is it isn't quite up to par? Our polling shows that we're sending email too frequently. So maybe that's a larger scale change. But if you can find those commonalities or those aha moments in your data, then definitely build some tracks. Build some tracks around these re-engaged subscribers. You might ask them directly what they want to get from you. You might get them to go to their Preference Center page and have them manage their subscription with you that way. So there's some commonalities that you can probably get from that. So let's jump into the actual platform here real quick. I know we're going a little bit long here, so I want to stop sharing that and go in and actually show my screen. So let me just go here, share my screen. Oh, here we go. Just one second. I guess it wants to, I was just in here yesterday and now it wants me to actually connect and download something. So let me just see if this will do that real quick.
You're back.
Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So main display. And all right, can you, Jeff, can you see my screen?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So sorry about that, guys. So you're in your email account. When you go into subscriber and search, you have this really powerful custom search tool here. If you haven't leveraged this already, I encourage you to go in there and just, again, play around with the data. Some good rules of thumb as far as looking at inactive subscribers is include your date joined option here. So, if you have somebody who has a date joined within the first, say, I'd say 60 days, then we want to give them a pass. Maybe they just signed up. Maybe they haven't really had a chance to really open and click a lot of your emails. Give those initial new subscribers a pass. We don't really want to look at them in this analysis. So we're going to include a date joined within the last 60 days and kind of use them as an ignore option here. And then we want to go to behavior and activity, and we want to say opens over time and choose have not opened at least one email. And let's just say we're going to use 270 days for our initial look at the data. So then once I hit submit, that's going to run. It's going to give me a subscriber count, and this is my demo account, so I don't have a lot of subscribers in here, and I open all my email, of course. So you'll see that I have 0 people that meet this, this expectation. So as you go back and forth, you can just toggle by clicking on Edit Search and go back and forth and try to find that sweet spot. So maybe now I want to just look at maybe 180 days. And again, kind of play around with the data. Now, once I've found that, I can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. I can export to a file. I can fill a static segment. I can create a new dynamic segment around that. Once I've found that, maybe I'm really happy that this is my sweet spot right here. Now, if you find that and you're not super savvy with creating dynamic segments and reoccurring messages around building this campaign, not to worry, because we have a really cool, very powerful functionality under the Strategy Blueprints tab. So if you click on Strategy and go to Winback, you'll see that you can create a Winback campaign, and it's kind of like stepping through, creating your taxes on like TurboTax. It's going to guide you through building dynamic segments and reoccurring messaging without having all of the email savvy. Or if you're email savvy but just don't want to have to spend the time and energy having to do with this by scratch, this will really help you out. So super flexible. I have the ability to edit, to me, what an inactive subscriber is. So I can look here and say, I want to look at my entire database, all subscribers, or just a specific segment. Say, I want to just look at, say, the executives that are inactive and really try to re-engage them. I have that flexibility here. For this, I'm going to say all subscribers, and I'm going to say the date joined. Let's just say, again, we want to look at 60 days. So we're going to exclude those people that have joined within the last 60 days from this program, give them a pass. And then what's the point of inactivity? So maybe in your initial analysis, you define that 270 days is kind of your sweet spot. So we want to try to re-engage those subscribers. So now you'll see a little checkbox here. If I hover over this, it'll give me a little recap of what I've defined as my inactive subscriber list. So this is essentially going to set up a message here, and you can click on Edit Message. This will go through something that looks very similar to the normal message creation process that you might be familiar with. I can toggle over to source code and drop in my creative for my initial email. Again, maybe it's that 6 things that all CPAs need to know. Drop that in here. I can use a template from the template library and customize it. And then once I've set this to go, I will go back here, and you'll see that I get a little green checkbox right next to this envelope showing that, yeah, this message is ready to go. I can click on preview and see it if I would like. And then it gives me the flexibility to set the message cadence between message 1 and message 2 and message 3, and then how long message 3 is going to wait before somebody's added to this non-responder segment. So essentially, if any of my inactive subscribers click on any of these 3, they are conveniently added to this static segment called win-back responders. And I can change the name of that, whatever I'd like. Again, treat those subscribers differently. Try to be more specific to them. Try to give them what they need before you lose them again. And again, here's your non-responders. So again, maybe there's something that you want to do here that reach out to them in a different way. So now we've done it. We've attempted to re-engage with them via email. Now let's try to re-engage them some other way, maybe a callback, maybe a mailer, something. So I can set up when I want this to run. I can, hit go, and essentially it will run this program every day. And if there's subscribers that meet any of these emails or this specific criteria, then they will receive the email. Some days maybe there's 0 people that get this email. Some days there could be 100 or 1,000 people. So it really just depends. Okay, so that is the functionality in the platform, and I know we're right at our time here. So I am going to ask Jeff here. I'm going to see see if we have any questions, and I'm going to go back to our screen here. Jeff, if you want to go ahead and bring me back on to the actual PowerPoint, and then see, do we have anybody who actually has any questions?
Yes, we do. Our first question, and I think you just covered this, but we'll go ahead and ask it. When filtering out people who haven't opened an email from us in 12 months, how do you account for your new customers or members that have only just started getting emails?
Right, yeah. So exactly. So the date joined within a certain time. So make that part of your query. So it should be not just those who have not opened and clicked in 12 months, but also add that criteria that says, people who have a date joined of greater than X. Maybe it's 30, maybe it's 60, maybe 90 days before you want to start excluding them from your list, of course.
Okay. And again, we are into the Q&A portion here, so please feel free to type in your questions. You can type it into the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen, and then clicking the call-out button or hitting enter on your keyboard. And as more of those questions are coming in, just want to take a brief moment to remind you that HighRoad Solution is an ASAE CAE approved provider for educational content. With your participation in the live presentation today, you have earned a CAE credit. To be accounted, please enter your first and last name into the Q&A box to ensure we account for your participation. All right. Next question here. I don't see strategy blueprints when I log into my account. Do I have to pay to turn that on, or how do we get access to it?
Oh, okay, great question. Yeah, some of you may not see strategy blueprints, and if that's the case, just reach out to the support team here at HighRoad, and we can turn that on, and it is a free service, so you shouldn't have any issues with that.
Okay, great. Is there a good rule of thumb for when to stop trying to email people?
Yeah, I think, I mean, there is a good rule. Well, there's the danger point, right, where if you are emailing people that have not opened and clicked your emails in 12 months, then you're definitely running the risk of looking at getting red flags from specific domains. So I would definitely look at stopping any email to people who have not opened and clicked your email in 12 months. Now, if you're looking to re-engage with folks who have not opened and clicked your email, say you have a list that's, say, 18 months, you haven't sent them an email in a certain amount of time, and you're looking to re-engage them, be careful about that. Put them into a static segment and split that into several groups and maybe start peppering those people into your normal process and see if you can get them to jump back in with you. So splitting a static segment, you should see that under your segmentation top navigation. So if you actually choose static segment, put all those people in there, and then split that into a certain amount of chunks. Maybe say add, if you have 100,000 subscribers that you haven't emailed in 18 months, maybe break that into 10 groups of 10,000, and then use each one of those little chunks of 10,000 to kind of go into your normal newsletter mailings. And that should allow for some safety in numbers there, and try to see if you can get them back on board.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next question is also about the strategy blueprints. And this particular person would like to know if they go out every day.
Yes, they do. So you're essentially, strategy blueprints is setting up a reoccurring message program that is going to run daily. And so the way it works on HighRoad is if you have a reoccurring message that runs daily and is tied to a dynamic segment, that dynamic segment, when it's used in the to field of a message, is going to refresh automatically when it builds the list for that message. So each one of those messages, message 1, 2, and 3 within the win-back campaign, is going to run daily at the time that you prescribe. Say maybe it's 8 o'clock in the morning. and it's going to look at one of those criteria and essentially send out that message if anybody meets that criteria.
All right, great. It looks like all the questions that we have in queue at this time. Do you want to give a quick little wrap-up and then we can close it down?
Yeah, thanks everybody. Again, thank you, Jeff, and thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I know this is a hot topic, and if this is just kind of getting you to start thinking about it, or if you have been thinking about this and maybe are looking for a second set of eyes, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you more about this and really help guide you down the road on building effective win-back programs. So again, thank you everyone.
Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Where Did Our Love Go? Winning Back Members, Buyers, and Attendees. Special thank you to our speaker, John Brandt, HighRoad Solution. Please take a moment to complete this short survey located in the top right under the links box. If you prefer to complete the evaluation at a later time, we will be emailing the survey in a follow-up email that will also provide you the session materials, including a link to the recording archive. Be sure to stay in the know about future HighRoad webinars, including our Halloween program, user-centric messaging, how the Society for Neuroscience is optimizing member self-service with Suzanne Carawam. Click on the short URL on the screen to learn more and register today. If you have any additional questions or comments, please email us at support@highroadsolution.com. Today's session was recorded. You will receive an email within the next few days with a link to the webinar recording. Today's webinar is copyrighted by HighRoad Solution with all rights reserved. This concludes today's program. Thank you, and you may now disconnect.